Welcome to the second edition of Crimson Conversations. Last week I got to sit down with WWE legend Tatanka, and it was awesome. This week's going to be a little bit different. You see, once a month I want to sit down, I want to talk to somebody, have a nice conversation with them. Maybe it'll be a legend, maybe it'll be an RCW star. Every month will be a surprise. But, I'd like to do more than one show a month. So, at least once a month, I'm going to want to find out what makes the rest of the locker room tick. I'm going to go around the locker room. I'm going to ask as many people as I can get a hold of one question. Find out a little bit more about your favorite stars. This week I asked them who was their favorite wrestler growing up and why. Their answers might surprise you.
Favorite wrestler growing up was either Sting or Kevin Von Erich. Kevin Von Erich because he was exciting. Sting, same thing. He was pretty cool. So those were my two favorites growing up.
Thank you.
That's it.
Let's see. Stone Cold. He's the man. He's it. That's why I got into wrestling. Steve Austin. Yeah, no other reason. Some kids had Spider-Man. I had Stone Cold. That's what I love.
I didn't really have one. There's so many. I liked Diamond Dallas Page when I first started watching. He was wrestling the Macho Man, and I liked the Macho Man, and then I wanted to know why that guy was dressed like the Crow. Then when I was really little, I liked Hulk Hogan, of course.
It was the immortal Hulk Hogan, brother, because Brandon the Brideless Groom knew that you must train. Take your vitamins, and most of all, say your prayers and always believe.
The Undertaker. Why? Because he's so amazing as far as when his gimmick comes out, he's just like... And then you hear the dong, and it's like, bam. That's why.
Wow, that would be Tully Blanchard. Because he was like the most awesome, meanest wrestler in Southwest of all the state of Texas and the NWA.
Favorite wrestler? I'm going to have to say Tully Blanchard. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And the reason being, greatest asshole that ever lived. If I can be half the asshole that Tully Blanchard was, I've had a successful career.
Ooh, that's a tough question because I have several. But I'm going to have to go with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Grew up in San Antonio, San Antonio's favorite son, hell of a wrestler, HBK, my favorite wrestler.
Hi. It's a good lighting, sir. My favorite wrestler probably was Macho Man because he was so charismatic and he had Miss Elizabeth by his side.
My favorite wrestler? It's easy. Macho Man. Nobody liked him before, nobody like him, and never will be.
As a kid, my favorite wrestler was Chyna because when I first saw her, she's who made me want to be a wrestler when I grew up, so kudos.
Favorite wrestler of all time? None other than the man, the myth, the legend, Tatanka. Grew up on the reservation. Also, it's AJ Styles. Always loved AJ Styles growing up, especially when he's in TNA. Man, the matches he had with Joe and Daniels and all them, phenomenal, just phenomenal. But a mixture of AJ and Tatanka.
Why? Let's see. It's got to be Hulk Hogan. Why? Because that man came out full of energy. Eat your vitamins, take your protein, say your prayers. That guy was the man. On top of the world, best to be. Who else was better than him? Then you had Ultimate Warrior coming around right behind him. They were neck and neck. But you know what? Hulk Hogan was still the top of the mountain. He was the guy to beat. He was my idol. And to this day, he's the reason why I got into this business.
Well, I have a few. And they're actually personalities, not just wrestlers. Number one would be Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. The Mega Powers was what really hooked me into everything. Personalities also up there is Bobby the Brain Heenan. I love Bobby the Brain Heenan. So much of my stuff that I do, managing-wise, I try to emulate. Although it's hard to emulate a legend, but I get inspiration from him on that. And of course, Vince McMahon, right?
Sting, just because charismatic, good guy, somebody to look up to. He always won. Even when he didn't win, he always kept a positive attitude. There was just something in the 90s as a kid where somebody with beach blonde hair and face paint, neon was just, I guess it was cool. So Sting was always my favorite. And then when he became the Crow Sting, that was the heyday of my middle school year. So it was all about NWO versus Sting, and it was, you know, it was, as a kid, it was just amazing. Like, you just get caught up in the action. I don't think there's ever been a point of me watching wrestling ever since where I got as excited for watching weekly. So yeah, Sting.
Believe it or not,
Thank
it
you.
was the motto, Rick Martel and Sherry Martel. I love them both. Rick Martel had the cleanest style, and everything was executed so cleanly, and he would get up because he was the absolute best and the perfect, and everything was just smooth. I absolutely loved his style. It's probably one of the last people you all think, but the model Rick Martel was Sherry Martel.
Nick Patrick. It was the first time I saw a heel ref really turn it into a troop gimmick. It wasn't just a 1 or 2 off. You know, had him hanging out with the NWO the entire time. And then, after the angle was over, he pretty easily transitioned back, just being a straight up ref. It was nice to see, some personality coming out of the official.
When I was growing up was Iceman King Parson. Iceman King Parson, Ric Flair, and then recently The Rock. So, and the reason why, just because Iceman King Parson, he was a badass. Like literally, like when I first started watching wrestling, he was the first black man that I saw wrestle, and it just like I was like, man, I want to do that and everything. And then Flair, just the way Flair can control the crowd. Flair, he's just the man. And I'm getting ate up like shit. Oh, but hey, you hush your mouth over there. I'm talking. Camera's talking to me. All right, so this is my time. You see how rude these people are here in San Antonio? This is what I got to deal with. This is why Chi-Town hates coming to San Antonio. I hate it because they're all jealous because the Spurs suck and they're gonna lose. And guess what? I'm gonna always still be the RCW Phoenix champion.
My favorite wrestler growing up was WWE Hall of Famer, The Ultimate Warrior. I first saw him wrestle live in 1988, wrestling Hercules Hernandez. The man was energy and excitement personified. I was always excited every time I got a chance to see him wrestle on TV. I admired the man so much that when he passed away 2 years ago, I was given the opportunity to wrestle as the not-so-Ultimate Warrior. I couldn't say no. Well, that's it for this week's show. We'll see you next time.